Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Julie Chan Show, where passion meets purpose. Join us in meeting and celebrating Kimberly Adams and Corey Minor-Smith today. So happy to be with you, women who are just empowering the world with your books and all that you do. First, and then we'll bring Corey back up. Kimberly, how are you?
Hi, Julie. Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to be here, and I'm just, living the dream. One moment at a time.
Wonderful. I love that. And I love your book, The Corporate Hippie. Show it to us.
Isn't it pretty? Oh,
I love it. I love the butterflies. What do those signify to you?
The change, right? Because a butterfly is a creature that completely emulsifies and changes complete form. Oh, I just got chills. It's really the only animal that goes into that cocoon, right? Completely emulsifies and changes form, and then spreads her wings.
And on Instagram, your handle is the Manifester of Magic.
Manifester of Magic. Yes, I manifest with Kim on Instagram, and I call myself the Manifester of Magic. That's just what came to me because I truly believe that anyone and everyone can create the life of their dreams. They just have to believe, trust, and surrender, and know that they're worthy of the magic that the universe has to offer.
What happened in your life to make you believe that?
Oh gosh, I think there's definitely been trauma in my life that I've overcome. I talk about in the book a lot, and I feel like I've had angels and God and the universe always supporting me, like literally always having. I didn't know really what intuition was in my early 20s, but I always trusted that when a window closed or a door closed, a window opened. I really had that mentality of believing that God was directing me. And little did I know that in every single business decision I made, in dating people, in friendships, I was always really having that little voice inside me, that inner guru, that inner GPS that was guiding me on a path to my greatest life. And the more that I listened and the more I got still, the stronger it became and the better my decisions became.
We are so busy as women, juggling so much family, relationships, work, all these different things. So how did you find time, or how do you find time to be still and to listen to yourself?
Well, it's definitely radical self-care is what I talk about, radical self-love. You have to factor it into your day, whether that's waking up earlier. Right now, I will say I am a bonus mom, so I have 50% of the time without the kiddos. So I have a lot of built-in time. And I know not all moms and not all women have that. But even, Julie, what I started to discover, even during the pandemic, I would go on a silent walk while I was walking the puppies. I would go alone, or to go to the grocery store, I would turn off the radio. So I started to find these pockets of time where I could truly be alone. My meditation days started about 7 years ago because that changed my flipping life. Like, honestly, if I told women to do one thing, I would be just find a way for a minute a day that meditation or stillness is the key to changing the trajectory of your life. And you just have to believe you're worthy enough to find that time. And we all have 5 minutes a day to be still and quiet, even if it's in the bathtub.
Right. And when you meditate, do you do it in complete silence, or do you have music in the background?
Oh gosh, you know what? It's different all the time. I just got my Himalayan sound bowls. They're these beautiful bowls that are like aligned with your chakras, and I'll play those sometimes now. I was outside before your show today getting grounded, and I just sat with my puppies for 15 minutes and just listened to the birds and looked at the sky. That's a form of meditation. That's what people don't understand. It doesn't have to be sitting there like it doesn't have to be that, right? It can be these simple moments of just staring at the window, right? Just sitting on the couch by yourself for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be this formal thing you do where you don't move and whatever. Like, that's the whole thing I want people to know. People always tell me I can't meditate. Everyone can meditate. That's what daydreaming is. Daydreaming is meditating. It's allowing the universe and God to bring all these thoughts. Have you ever just been in a place where you were in the bathtub or you were like staring at the window and an idea comes into your brain, like this aha moment?
Yes. But you have to give yourself the time for those moments.
You do. But that is what giving the time allows those little seeds and those nuggets of ideas to create enough and give you that path where you just literally find your passion and your purpose.
Exactly. Kimberly, so many women want to write a book and you've done it. How did you start and what fueled you to keep going to get it done?
So about 3 years ago on my spiritual journey, I'd come out of like a meditation, like a gong healing, and Source, God, literally downloaded the name, The Corporate Hippie, into my brain. And I thought, how cool would it be if people were doing this in corporate America, right? To find their centeredness, because this is the way I was leading my team with trusting my intuition. And I literally filed it away. And then I got laid off twice in 2019, moving to be with the love of my life in California. COVID hit. I was doing e-learning with the kids. And I just was like, you know what? If I'm not going to write this book now, when am I going to do it? So I had all these grandiose ideas of, it needs to be in Barnes and Noble and it needs to have a shiny cover with me on the picture. But once I got out of my own way and decided I'm going to self-publish this book, everything started to flow. Everything flowed. And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to self-publish. And that's what happened. So I self-published. I believed in myself enough. And now I'm actually working with a real publisher to get it out to the world. So yay!
Very exciting. That is so great. That is truly following your passion and your purpose. And when you do that, you light up and you're having so much fun.
Absolutely. And it's about, changing the world, changing the planet, right? I mean, it's female energy. It's us all raising up together and just clapping for each other, believing in each other, because guess what? The feminine energy is what we need on this planet right now. And the more that we cheer on other soul sisters, the faster this world is going to change. I believe it.
Incredible. And with your business of Manifestor of Magic, where can people find you?
Yes, I'm on Instagram. You can go to Manifest with Kim on Instagram. My website, thecorporatehippie.co. I have the opportunity. I'm doing workshops. I have probably 40 podcasts that I've been on. So DM me, right? Reach out to me. I will help
people how to manifest every day.
Absolutely. And again, I literally am having girlfriends that were my friends just over the last 20 years calling me and they're reading my book, my actual friends. And they're saying, Kim, oh my gosh, I'm doing what you're telling me in the book and my life is changing. And I'm like, it makes me the happiest that I could ever be when I know that just something I've shared, whether it's a nugget, is shifting someone's perspective to live their best life. How freaking amazing is that?
So amazing. Love you so much. We're going to bring you back up in just a minute after we meet Corey. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Corey, hello. You and I met before. Show us your book. I see it all behind you. Driven.
Yes. #driven.
Yeah. And you have a new workbook. Do you have that to show us as well?
Yes. Actually, it's digital. So trying to make it, convenient and easy for people to do. We can get bogged down by all these things that we sign up for and get in the mail and don't actually do them. So with the digital format, they're able to fill in the blanks digitally as well, electronically, and save it and go back to it. And so the driver's manual, you will get that through the Driven You community. And that's all built off of the concept of driving, creating your own GPS, your personal global positioning system, and how you want to move forward in this world and in your life.
Yeah. So your driver's manual, I love that.
Yes.
Driver's manual, when somebody looks at that, tell us some of the big tips that they're going to get that's really going to move their entire life forward.
Actually, my 5 principles, which are outlined in my book, #driven, 5 principles. Number 1, faith. Number 2, determination. Number 3, motivation. Number 4, preparation. And number 5, action. And we need to implement those principles in order to move forward with any goal, any major decision that we need to make in our lives, because they can be very complex, as we just heard about Nicole yesterday with the decision to not go forward with the University of North Carolina and to go with Howard University. She had to make what I call a devastatingly difficult decision, but she did what was best for her. But applying principles to the thing that you have to do, setting a goal, making a major decision, and that's Nicole Hannah-Jones, by the way, you can move forward in your life and reach the goals that you want to reach.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it that made you decide to spend the time to write the book and the manual?
Actually, I was 16 when I knew that I wanted to write a book. I didn't know my full story at that time, but I have overcome a lot of traumatic events. And at the age of 16, I finally had stability when both of my grandmothers actually took me in when they didn't have to, but my paternal grandmother legally took me in, and it just provided the stability that I needed in my life and gave me foundation to know that I could achieve something more in my life. And through that, hashtag Driven was developed over 30 years of just thinking about things, learning things, and then wanting to share that with the world. And particularly, hashtag Driven is used as a resource for families and friends that have a loved one living with severe mental illness. And I share my lived experience in being that caregiver, daughter turned / mother for my mother who lives with severe mental illness.
Wow, beautiful. So you were 16 when you had this idea that you had a book in you, and you said you went on for the next 30 years. What was the one thing that finally made you stop and start writing?
Divorce. I can laugh at it now, but not at the time. But it really was one of the major things that made me stop, because since 16, I have just been going, trying to accomplish any and everything to be successful in my world, in my life. And I had to deal with a lot of suppressed emotions, suppressed feelings once I decided to end my 12-year marriage. And through that time, it really had me to actually write, because all of this time I've just been thinking about it, saying it. I had this excited statement, I'm writing a book. And as I would go out and do speaking engagements, I'm saying that I'm writing a book. But one of the 4 principles is preparation. And these weren't just haphazardly created, these principles. They are things that I learned along the way. And being prepared, we have to be prepared for what we feel we want. And when you're asking people to help you, and in this case, I talk about my interaction with Les Brown, international motivational speaker and author. I had the opportunity to be a mistress of ceremony, and he was the keynote speaker. And I gave him this package of information that I would always give to anybody of notoriety. And he called me that night. I could not believe it, but he told me I had a story for the world to hear. So fast forward 6 years, all these delays in time, I needed to get out of my own way, as Kimberly said. But 6 years later, when I started my own law office, I knew I wanted to be a speaker. So I contacted him to see if I could use his statement as a marketing thing, a statement from him. He said, I'll do better than that. I'll write the foreword to your book if you want me to. I just held the phone. I'm like, oh my God. He asked for the first 3 chapters of my book. I had nothing to give, nothing. I didn't have anything written. And that's when I learned the importance of being prepared. We ask people to help us. We want help along this journey, but you have to be prepared for what you're asking for.
That is so true. Such a great, great reminder. And to really know what you want, because people are always willing to support and to help in any way they can, but we get to get out of our own way.
Absolutely. My grandmother always said she had no problem helping me because she saw the effort that I put forth in helping myself. So I truly appreciate people who follow that same premise and want to help others. And as I learn and grow, I want to help others by helping them to learn and grow.
Yeah. And clearly, I see your passion for all of this. Were you always passionate about all of your work that you did over the years?
By the time I was 16, yes. because I saw it as a way to help me to improve my quality of life. And then as I learned, coming out of food insecurity, coming out of a transient lifestyle, I went to 14 different schools, lived in 3 states and 8 different households, and I wasn't in foster care. But ultimately, being put in a program, it's called there was a summer program, Job and Partnership, and it helped high school students to work in an area that can introduce them to a field. And interestingly enough, mine was in law. I was assigned to work in a court. And that was one of the main factors that led me to becoming a lawyer. Again, with the thought that this was going to help improve my quality of life based on the things I have overcome in my life. And so again, as I learn, I want to teach other people who may have similar circumstances or worse circumstances, parents in and out of jail, parents on and off of drugs, living in areas of poverty, and knowing that they can move forward past those tremendous obstacles to have a higher quality of life.
Absolutely. What kind of law did you practice?
Wow, I have been in public service most of my career. I've been a lawyer now for 20 years. I can't even believe that much time has passed already. But my oldest son is 25. He was potty training when I started law school. So it was a very scary venture. But over my time, I started off as a prosecutor. I then went to be a judicial attorney where I wrote decisions for judges. I started my own practice where I did family law, criminal law, and personal injury. Then I accepted an appointment to work for a mayoral administration. So I was a part of a mayor's cabinet here in my hometown of Canton, Ohio. And then the Public Housing Authority, where I lived in public housing, offered a position. They wanted to create a position, and I became general counsel for the Public Housing Agency, where I worked for almost 10 years. So now I'm investing all of my time and attention in other opportunities to speak, to write more books. I want to write a children's book to help children who have a parent or a loved one that has a severe mental illness, very similar to Bebe Moore Campbell, if any of you all are familiar with her. She was a 3 times New York Times bestselling author and wrote about mental health or mental illness in her book, 72-Hour Hold, and Sometimes Mommy Gets Angry. So I just really want to increase awareness about mental health to reduce this. For living with severe mental illness, especially, to have higher qualities of life. And it takes their family and friends to know the resources to help their loved one.
Yeah, so important. Everything you do is really great. We have a question here for you, Corey. Does Corey have other ways to help people who want to accomplish their goals beyond her book?
Yes. Well, thank you for that question. And again, working with some very tremendous individuals, I've created this program. It's called Driven You Community. And that's where the driver's manual was developed, again, to help people to develop their own GPS. And we play off the words of driving, hitting potholes and hitting a detour. And what do? You have to have your pit stop crew, right? As a race car driver, they don't have time to be stopped by a flat tire or the gas running out or whatever the case may be.
Love those analogies.
People in their pit stop crew that are fast, accurate, and to help them get back on the road. And that's what I wanted people to be able to do by going through the Driven You community process, working with each other, networking with each other, and actually doing the work that's outlined in the driver's manual.
Love it. I love that you call your workbook the driver's manual.
Yes.
So perfect. And you definitely just have so many analogies to driving.
Yes.
Really great. We're going to bring Kimberly back up. Hello.
Hi. I'm so inspired by Corey's story. Like, it's so, what came up for me was how we're all the same.
Yes.
We're all the same. My divorce sparked me, right? My mom has mental health issues. She's been moved 20 times in 3 months and you can't get help, right? So it's literally, we're all the same. We're all having the same struggles. And the more that we lift each other up, the more that we will change together. But just hearing someone who I've never met before describing things that I'm dealing with, and it's so empowering.
Yes.
And I love it.
I
Thank
love
you.
it as well. It's incredible to see you both just so happy, lighting up the world, so passionate about your books and your mission and all that you've overcome in life, right? So when we're in the midst of the hardships, we are just like thinking and we feel so trapped and alone and tired and where's the way out, and to see you both on the other side of that, you've written books, you are speaking to people all over, you're doing podcasts, and you continue to grow and you're writing more books and you have vision boards behind you. Like it's incredible to see you doing that. And I think that that is what is so important about what we all do for one another, right? Like
Right.
women can empower each other. And I love that you two have written these books to give others hope and inspiration and tools.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so powerful when women especially are willing to share their stories. We many times while we're going through it, when we're in the darkest of the dark, we may not think that other people are living through these circumstances. And as Kimberly just explained, just feeling connected. And I was inspired by your story as well, but we both talk about a GPS and didn't know that. So that is it's awesome because there is a way to keep going. Not to say that it's going to be easy, but there are ways to keep going. And I just strongly encourage people to not feel that they have to do it by themselves. Just moving forward, you have to be able to rely on a trusted group of individuals that have shown themselves approved of helping you. They have proven track record of being willing to help. And I encourage people to get their pit stop crew together and use and take advantage of the opportunity to have their knowledge, their experience in helping you to move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was just going to add on to that. There's so many resources for all of us now that don't cost money, right? Like on my journey of dealing with trauma, I was hiring therapists, all that kind of stuff. And I know there's so many people don't have those resources.
Right.
The internet, the Instagram, YouTube, there's so many amazing access to powerful women that will pave the way. And like were you talking about, Corey, I'm helping someone up while someone else is helping me up.
Absolutely.
That's how this all works.
Right.
Yeah.
And how it could work. So
And
you
how it
do
could
have
work.
naysayers and wing clippers out there, but as I say, I rock with those that rock with me. You work with those that support you. Go where you are appreciated, not tolerated. Another phrase that I've seen so much, especially since yesterday, I talked earlier about Nicole Hannah-Jones, but as women, there are so many obstacles that we may face that we don't even know are there. So it makes me think about this prayer that my grandmother always had, which was to ask the Lord for guidance and assistance for things that are seen and unseen, because a lot of things we don't see. And that's when you have your pit stop crew that may be in areas where they're hearing these things or seeing opportunities for you or seeing obstacles that you may not see and being able to help you before you hit that roadblock.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love all your analogies. They're amazing. Like I need some of those analogies.
Oh, you have them. I'm sure that they are in your book, The Corporate Hippie. What a name. I'd also like to bring up the point of, there's this idea that when we're in our head and we're worried about our circumstance and we're so stressed out and we're going negative, that we should focus out. And clearly I see that in both of you, but can you, help tell people what ways, what possibilities there are to focus out, and what does that mean?
Well, I'm going to say real quick. I did get a phone call last week from a friend I've known for 20 years, and she said that she was stuck like she's never been before. $100 in the bank for a family of 5. Okay. And I literally said first, like I wanted to send her my book and she said she wanted to buy it. And I just said, listen, I said, go inward and think about how can you do something different? How can you be open to one thing new? Listen to one podcast that's different. Be still for 5 minutes. Write down like it's not about the money, right? Take the money out of the picture. It's about what brings you joy and happiness. So she started on this journey literally 5 days ago of changing some of her thoughts and doing some things in my book. And she called me yesterday and she goes, I don't flipping believe it, but they are getting a check that, for over $100,000 that they've been waiting on for 9 months that they never thought they were going to get. Yeah. I mean, like, you can't make this up. Like, if you trust in God and allow to surrender and you ask for help, it will show up in unexpected ways that you cannot imagine.
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
Totally agree. And in that, just being introspective, you have to take the time to stop. And I had to learn that, because just being so busy, because you think that's helping you to be successful, helping you to meet and greet, whatever it is that you're supposed to do. But you have to take time to stop, and literally breathe. And I say that because there were times where I found myself literally not breathing. I would have to gasp for air because I was not breathing. And you have to take the time to stop. It allows you to think. It allows your creativity to flow. And Kimberly, as we said, it allows you to get out of your own way by opening up your mind to other things that you may not have thought possible for you, giving you the opportunity to expand your thought process, right? Yeah. Expand your thought of who you are as a person and what you are willing to do to get to the goals that you want to reach. So,
and God wants to deliver these things to us, but they might not look in the form that we think they're going to be.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, a friend of mine was telling me how she kept telling her husband for years she wanted a beach house. And again, they're in a situation where they're just like struggling with normal bills, right? But she had this vision of wanting to go to a beach house, right? And having a beach house. I mean, again, you can't make this stuff up. Her parents bought a beach house that she had access to whenever she wanted. I mean, it wasn't in the form that she thought. Right. She didn't know her parents were going to buy a beach house. And it's like, okay, it's not her beach house, but yet she has access to it whenever she wants. Like, okay, that's God answering your prayer, sending you a miracle.
Yep. Be unattached to the way it comes. Just ready to accept it when it comes, right?
Yes.
And I love that Laksha says, stop, and breathe, what Corey, you just said. And I loved when you said that, Corey, because as women, we need constant reminders of that, right? And Kimberly, you've been saying throughout this 30 minutes, the idea of self-care, the importance of self-care. And we as women don't give ourselves permission enough. And we constantly need to hear it from our friends and our loved ones and our fellow women that is okay, right? Because
I'm writing everyone a permission slip right now.
Yeah.
You have permission to love yourself first, and then your husband, and then your children, obviously God first, but then you have to take care of self first. And again, if you don't, you are going to be given, it's going to show up, right? Like as Oprah says, pebbles, rocks, stones, and boulders.
And you just literally won't be able to function if you don't take care of yourself. I mean, it's like the safety warnings that you hear on the airplane. That is very true. I mean, it's backed by science. Like if you go helping other people put their mask on and you haven't put yours on, your brain loses function. It's losing air, right? And you won't be able to function. You probably die trying to help other people. And that's literally what happens.
And I think all three of us have been there.
Yeah.
Which is why we feel so strongly about these ideas and these principles of self-care and meditation and stopping and breathing.
But we're human too, right? So we're human. Yeah. So when we get hit or something happens in our lives, like with my mom the last 3 months, it's that you still when you're in it, you forget how to bring yourself back up sometimes. And that's why having Corey, having you, Julie, having all of these community of women where we know that we've all been through our own dark night of the soul. And it just takes that little spark, right? To we can change our lives in an instant if we just love ourselves first.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I love you both so much. This You are wonderful. I so appreciate you being here. Thank you all for watching the Julie Chan Show, where passion meets purpose. Bring all your friends to this amazing episode this morning. Thank you for watching.